Look, guys, I really thought I wasn't going to address this. I really thought I was going to get through November without addressing this. I really thought I was going to be the better person, but it has come to a point where I can't, and I have to talk about it. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the movie. For anyone who's new to my channel, you won't know that I used to make videos on A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I'm saying make videos, I did about 4 of them whenever the book was coming out and when it came out, and when the movie was nothing more than just a faint glimmer in the eyes of Lionsgate. But we have come to the point 3 years later where the movie, it's here. It's here now. I don't like saying I'm right, you guys, but I'm lying, of course. Who doesn't like saying that they're right? But I don't want to be right in this. Even back when I first made my very polarizing video about how I didn't like that A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was coming out in the first place, I wanted to be wrong, alright? I wanted to be wrong. Just for the viewing public who are new around here, I will go through my emphasis once again on how important the Hunger Games series was for me growing up, because nobody seems to be able to understand that criticism does not mean hate. Because when I first made that video about how I wasn't happy that another Hunger Games book was coming out, I got lambasted. I got told stories of how Suzanne Collins was people's heroes and saved people's lives, and that meant that she couldn't be criticised, and anything that you said wrong about her or her work wasn't a direct attack at her, and they won't accept that, and I must suffer for it. I got called fat and ugly, all because I didn't like the idea of there being a prequel series or prequel book for the Hunger Games trilogy. So I will emphasize again, just in case those people are back in my comment section. The Hunger Games meant everything to me growing up. The Hunger Games was my crutch through high school. The Hunger Games films was probably what kept me going through high school. Probably, besides my friends and my family, was what kept me alive during my high school years, okay? Peeta Mellark was my life, even though I was gay, and I would say that that's pretty fucking impressive for a male fictional character to achieve. So let's push aside this whole you hate Suzanne Collins and you hate the Hunger Games stuff for a second, because everything that I predicted about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes from the very beginning of that I made a first video whenever the announcement was made, when it was nothing but a cover, it was nothing but a cover released. Everything I predicted turned out right. I said, there's going to be a movie. It's going to be, whenever we found out it was by President Snow, I said it was exactly going to be about him in the District 12 tribute, because there was that excerpt released about him mentoring her, and he was either going to fall in love with her or become obsessed with her, or something very obvious was going to happen, and it was going to romanticize President Snow. And whether the book, because I didn't read it, whether the book actually achieved that or not, I cannot comment. I did not read it. I only read the Wikipedia biography on what happened. But what I can comment on is what I am seeing from this movie coming out. And what I am seeing from this movie being out is a lot of fucking dumbassery, alright? Is a lot of stuff that I feared would happen from this book being about a young President Snow, okay? I mean, I have come to the conclusion that the Hunger Games fandom is no better than any other fandom. Obviously, because it was my fandom during my teenage years, I thought that it was special, and it wasn't like all the other ones. It wasn't like Twilight, and it wasn't like Divergent, and it wasn't like all the other toxic fandoms out there. It was. We were all the exact same as those people. We were sometimes even worse than the Twilight people, okay? Just because our books were I say objectively better than Twilight, were subjectively better than Twilight, didn't make us as fans any better than them. We were just as bad, okay? We were just as obsessed. We just like to put ourselves on a higher pedestal because we thought, oh, our book's better, so we have a right to be obsessed with it. No. We were just as bad, okay? And it is becoming more and more evident from how people are reacting to this movie, okay? Not only did it not help that this first image for A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes that ever got released was a romantic photo of Lucy Gray and President Snow, and the people who were in defense of this book kept saying to me, it's not a love story, it's not a love story, they're not trying to romanticize President Snow. And then we have Francis Lawrence going, it's very much a love story. And it was just like, either Francis Lawrence, the director of Catching Fire to Mockingjay Part 2 and A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, really misunderstood what the book is about, or somebody is lying here. Is it a romance or is it not a romance? I'm putting that aside for a second because I'm not going to jump and dogpile on Rachel Zegler because she gets enough stuff already. I don't think she got any PR training because she really does just come out with some stuff that really doesn't help her, but we're not here to talk about that. I do think that Lucy Gray is very much Katniss coded, which shows a lot of originality, am I right? But that's not what my problem is, because no, I haven't really seen the movie. I don't intend to see the movie, but obviously it's been advertised everywhere. I see that it's the lowest rated Hunger Games movie, which, big shocker there. It's in like the 60% or something in Rotten Tomatoes, which hurts my soul, because the Hunger Games movies were very good for book to movie adaptations, and I feel like this prequel is just kind of shitting on that. And I have to clarify now, every time I say I like the Hunger Games, I'm like, I don't mean the sequel, because I don't mean the sequel. But I logged on to TikTok. I made the mistake of logging onto TikTok. I enjoy TikTok, okay? Because it was my bread and butter for some of my my Facebook romance videos there for a while. I changed it to TikTok romances. And I do find fun in some of the comedy and I make videos of my own as well. I made one about Lionsgate milking the hell out of the Hunger Games franchise.
I can milk that cow. Its udders won't know what touched them. That sounds so wrong. May I milk you?
Because a lot of the videos they're posting to promote a Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is not about a Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It's about the Hunger Games. It's trying to trick people into thinking, oh, Katniss and Peter are going to be in this new movie. They ain't. They're just trying to get you to pay for a ticket, bro. I'm seeing President Snow thirst traps. God help me, I'm seeing President Snow thirst traps. And of course, at the moment, he's not President Snow, he's Coriolanus Snow. It's a prequel, he's not the president yet. But this is exactly the romanticization of a villain that I saw coming as soon as I realised that President Snow was what this book was about, what this story was about. I knew in one way or another he was going to end up getting romanticized. He was going to end up having people thirsting over him, wanting to be in a relationship with him. Oh, he's so hot. He tries to commit genocide on the districts. He tries to kill people. He endorses the games. He is a dictator. I don't care what he does when he's young. This is him, a dictator in the making. And it could have been a very interesting story about how he ended up being insane and going down the path that he did. It could have been about his time in office, whenever he was building his way up to being president, whenever he was poisoning people, and why he had to start wearing the rose because the blood in his mouth stank so bad. But it's not about that. It's about him and the District 12 girl. And he's shirtless. I saw a clip of him shirtless. Why is he shirtless in this movie? Why am I seeing this actor who's playing young Coriolanus Snow's abs on my TikTok feed when it's either trying to romanticize him, trying to sexualize this villain, or it knows that it has nothing else to offer story-wise, that it's giving girls his abs? I'm seeing TikToks of people talking about how they wanted to go into the story and not support Snow, but because of how hot he is, they can't help it. That breaks my heart. As a Hunger Games fan, that hurts. And I'm not seeing anyone else talk about it. I've seen a few people talking about how Suzanne Collins is going to be writing more books because of the success of A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and people commenting on how people wanting that is misunderstanding the series' commentary on capitalism. Bro, liking A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is misunderstanding the story's message about capitalism, sexualization, romanticism. But you aren't getting that because, oh, this is a good one, we like this one. Like, someone literally in the comment section of a video romanticizing President Snow and lusting over him said something like, oh, but she can't write another one because that would be capitalizing, and the book's about capitalization, series is about capitalism and its commentary and stuff like that. Suzanne Collins only writes stories that are important. If Suzanne Collins only wrote stories that were important to the lore, to the series, then A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes would not exist. End of. If it was important to the story, it would have been written 10 years ago with the rest of the series. But it wasn't. It was written 10 years later when an idea popped into her head and she was like, ooh, money! And she wrote it. I'm sorry. I know. It hurts to hear it. It breaks my heart too, because those books mean everything to me. They're my favourite book series. It's my favourite movie series. I can't stress enough how much it hurts me as well. But whether you like it or not, I don't care if you enjoy it. I don't care if you think it's a good book. It's not my place to tell you that you're right or you're wrong. But I'm sorry, you can't excuse this book and then say whatever book she writes from now on is capitalizing. A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes misses the point of the series and its message about capitalism, because it is capitalizing on a story that Suzanne Collins knew was going to be successful and was going to sell her books. I'm sorry, it's just a fact. If she wanted to write more, then she would have written a different series like she promised us. She said when the movies were ending that she was going to write something else outside of Panem. I mean, technically, I suppose she did, because she wrote In the Capital, but I don't appreciate that kind of pedantism, and I don't think that's what she meant when she said it. Just hurts to see this story that meant so much to me, that had so many messages about power, about who the real enemy is, about how you can't even trust the people who you think are in the right, about political imbalance, about poverty, about killing children just to say that you can, just because there's this big city out there that just thinks, we can kill your kids and there's nothing you can do about it. And then all of them rising up and saying, you know what, no, we're not taking this shit anymore. And the rebellion that comes out of that, and how people died and characters we love died. But that's how war works. Sometimes people die, even if we really love them. People say Finnick shouldn't have died. I'm sorry. Finnick's death was realistic. People die. You don't get saved just because you're liked. And that's why Prim died as well. I should put at the start of this that there's spoilers. I'll put at the start of this that there's spoilers. People don't get saved because they're liked. They don't get saved because they're young. That was what was so realistic about this story. At the end of the book, it says that Peeta still clutches the back of the chair whenever he feels a hijacking attack coming on, because there was no miracle cure. He's still unwell. So is Katniss. They have PTSD. The books were so realistic and had such important messages, and people are now taking it. Last year they had a bloody pop version of The Hanging Tree go into the bloody top 10 or some shit like that. I've seen people singing The Hanging Tree on karaoke in bars. I'm seeing these TikToks of people thirsting over President Snow, and yeah, it's all in jest and it's all for laughs, but it's totally missing the point of what the series was about, and it totally misses the point of what we were all enjoying it for. Not to be over dramatic, but I really felt tears at the back of my eyes and kind of pushing its way up when I saw someone filmed the bit in the theatre. That's how I know that there's a scene of President Snow being shirtless as a kid or whatever the age he is. And I just really welled up because the person made a joke saying, remember who the real enemy is. A really poignant line from Catching Fire, meaning they were going to go into the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes remembering who the enemy is, President Snow, but insinuating that seeing him shirtless changed their mind. And that's one of the reasons why a Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes shouldn't exist, or should have been written better or portrayed better, because this is the message that it's sending to people, and this is how people are taking it in. And yeah, you can argue people are idiots, people are trying to be funny, people do this for Peeta and Finnick and Haymitch and all that as well. They weren't dictators. They weren't killing people. They weren't the enemy. They weren't the one who we were... President Snow and President Coin both ended up being villains in the end. But seeing this romanticization of the man who enforced killing people, and I really hope that the message of A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes isn't that he did all this in the future because he got slighted by Lucy, because not only is that a bare basic bitch story, but it would just take away all of the poignancy of his firm belief in the strength of the capital and the importance of the capital and how the districts are lesser, and that's why he did what he did. It would just take all of that away and ruin it and just boil it down to, he was slighted by a District 12 girl. And that's probably why he hates Katniss too. But I'm not going to make a definitive claim that that's what it's about. But there was someone in the comment section saying, I don't know how Lucy rejected him. So maybe they were trying to be cute, maybe they were trying to be funny, I don't know, but I didn't take it as funny, I took it as annoying. The story sounds annoying, and I never thought that I would see my favourite series bastardized like this. Please don't take it as an attack on you if you enjoy The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Whenever I first made my video criticising A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I got so much hatred for it, and I'm sorry, if you can't accept criticism on something that you like, then you really shouldn't be on the internet in the first place. but I have been holding my tongue ever since my last video. And I really have been trying to ignore this, but seeing people thirsting over President Snow and saying that they're ignoring that he's the enemy now, which kind of ruins a poignant point that was made in Catching Fire. It hurts. Sucks. It sucks big time. So I had to talk about it. I had to rant about it. I had to do something to kind of ease the pain in my brain about it. Anyway, what do you guys think? Have you seen the movie? Is it any good? I haven't heard good things about it. I've heard that the dynamic between Snow and Lucy is terrible. I've heard Rachel Zegler is a highlight in it, which good for her, I suppose. But I haven't heard good things about it. I haven't heard good things about the runtime. Apparently it's very stilted. It hasn't been very good. What do you think of the book? Is the book any good? Again, I didn't really partake in it. I'm just talking about this as a casual observer. Let me know all your thoughts down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my book if you want. It's an Amazon exclusive. It is free on Kindle Unlimited. Don't do any of that if you don't want to. I don't want you there if you don't want to be there. And remember, I criticize because I love. The Hunger Games meant a lot to me. There's a reason that I'm so passionate about this and my dislike for this. It meant a lot to me, okay? And seeing this is just... yeah, it stings, okay? Alright. Bye, guys.